I'm going to try this again. I filmed my October reading wrap-up yesterday, and then I realized that for some reason Goodreads isn't, if I go to the My Books section, it's not showing me all the books I read, even though they're in there and with dates and all of that, so I don't know. So I thought I only read one book in October, but I read two, so I just decided to refilm it. Okay, let's try this. The first book I read in October is The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison, and this book was amazing. I really, really love this book. It's like it's a thriller, and it's about this girl, and she's kidnapped, and she's telling, but the book isn't following like, I got kidnapped, this happened. It's as she's telling her story to the cops after her and other girls from the same place are rescued. And this guy kidnaps them, he tattoos butterfly wings on their backs, and he basically just keeps them and collects them. And when they turn 21, he kills them and preserves them in amber. I don't think it's technically amber, I think it's technically resin, but it's like amber. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but we do find out that he's been doing this for like 30 years. And it's really, really, really good. I highly, highly recommend this book. It is part of a series. It's the first book in the Collector series. So I would say you can completely read this book as a standalone thriller. If you want to read the series, from the way I understand it, the series is not following this case, it's following the detectives. So the series is like a thriller / mystery series, is the way I understand it. So I've got the second book ordered, but it just came out the beginning of this year, so I'm on a big huge list at the library waiting for it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the second book is like, if I like it as much, since it's different. But I absolutely love this one. Highly recommend it again. It was great. And then the second and final book I read in October was The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I'm not sure if that's a long A or not. Kang? Sorry. Kang. It's Korean, I believe. That's where the book is set, anyway. And it is about a lady who becomes vegetarian. And it is about how that's very unusual in their society and all of that. But reading the book, I found that it wasn't about vegetarianism. It was about mental health and mental illness. And everybody that I have heard talk about this book, they mention that, but they also put a lot of emphasis on the vegetarianism. And the way I read it, the vegetarianism was a side effect. It wasn't the main thing. The book was about mental health, mental illness. It was a good book. It's told in 3 chunks, from 3 different perspectives, 3 different times. I enjoyed it. It's kind of like in between a book you just read and you're done with and one that makes you think. It's kind of like in between that. It's definitely something worth reading at least once, but it wasn't so amazing I have to own it or anything. I don't know really how to tell you about it, honestly. But if you're even vaguely interested in it, I would say go ahead and read it, because it is good. It's just hard to explain, not only the book, but how it affected me, I guess. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to read. It's been on my shelf my virtual shelf, my virtual TBR shelf, not my real one, for a while, so it was good to actually read it. And it was, when I got it in from the library, it's actually a lot shorter than I expected, so, but I did enjoy it. And yeah, that's everything I read in October. I've already jumped headfirst into November, which is apparently nonfiction November, so I'm putting emphasis on trying to read nonfiction books. I read nonfiction anyway. I read everything. I'm one of those weird people that if it's a book, I'll read it. I'm not very genre specific. I just get in moods where I read a bunch of one thing and then I'll read a bunch of something else. But I'm putting emphasis on working on some nonfiction this month. So, yeah. If you have any nonfiction recommendations for me, please leave those down in the comments. I've posted on all of my social media for people to leave me recommendations, and I've gotten a few, and I've ordered them from the library and such, or my mom's bringing me one to borrow, and that sort of thing, so we'll see what comes in and what I get read before the end of the month. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you read this month, and like I said, if you have any nonfiction recommendations for me, please leave those in the comments, because I am working on reading as much as I can. Yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.